Hi and welcome to a new video. In this video I just wanted to go back in time a bit and go over and review the GT-AX11000. So I've done a whole series of videos on these, and it's probably really started my channel on Asus routers when I first got this. It was a few years ago now, so this has been out, it's not a brand new router, but still is Wi-Fi 6. It was the top of the range a few years back, and it still, I would say, is still a good all-rounder and still quite top of the range with performance and features and everything else that is actually still included. So you can probably get yourself a bargain by getting a second-hand one. Just be wary that, make sure that you're checking to the actual seller has not been putting it in a cupboard where it could have been potentially overheating over time, and the antennas as well, just to make sure, because there is quite a few of them. So basically I think there's around 8 of them because they're like a giant spider. So best make sure that they're all in a good condition. You can buy third-party ones, and even probably if you go to one like eBay or anything like that, you might be able to pick up some original ones as well. But I was just looking back to see if you are interested in buying this, and is it still relevant in 2023? Well, towards the end of 2023 in October. And I would say clearly 100% yes. With the features and the updates that are still coming through for the GT-AX11000 from Asus, but also the Asus WRT-Merlin, so that's a third-party software, is also still supports the GT-AX11000, and I don't see it going away for some time. This still router can handle many connections, as I said, with all its 8 antennas, the processor and the RAM, and then the basically 2 USB 3.0 ports, the 4 LAN ports that are 1 gigabit each, and then you've got your WAN port, and then you've got a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet as well. So you have everything that you need to run, even like a small kind of backup server, and a few of the other features that it includes, a VPN server, and it even has gaming features as well. So we'll just quickly run through the overview of the actual features that it actually includes. So I won't go into too much detail of each of the options because I've got other previous videos, and I'll put in the comments, and I'll pin the playlist where you can go back and have a look at more details. But in short of it, if you don't want to watch the whole video, is that yes, if you're thinking of buying this and you're looking around at other routers still, and you can get this a bit cheaper, then go ahead and buy it, because it's still very relevant. It can still handle my 30 plus devices that are connected to it using the 2.5 gigahertz frequencies, that bands that it has, and the 2.4. It handles my doorbell that normally records 24/7, and that's Nest, and it's constantly connected and uploading. It's the same as my NAS that I have, and that constantly backs up to the cloud and then downloads as well, and it doesn't even miss a beat. It's always been rock solid. I've never had any issues with it, and as I said, it's still been supported with updates and features that you've got as we'll go through, and now in the next stage. Okay, so moving on. So now, as you can see, logging in, so you do have the option here. So all of these here, as you can see here under general, you can see there's so many features that this still includes. So this is why I'm still saying it's still relevant, even with the Wi-Fi 6E and even Wi-Fi 7 coming out. There's still hardly, Wi-Fi 6E has been out for quite a considerable time now. Yes, more devices starting to support it, but still not a huge amount. And if you look at IP cameras and even doorbells, especially in the UK and in Europe, we still have to, most of them still are using the 2.4 gigahertz band after all these years. Even the doorbells, like with Nest kind of thing, in America you can use the 5 gigahertz frequency, but we're still limited to the 2.4. And the same with a lot of the IP cameras as well. So this can easily handle it, and it's still, I would say, got many years worth of still in it, because it can handle so many devices and all at once, and it has all these features. So going on to the next one, so as we can see here, it does support AiMesh, so that's using the Asus kind of mesh network system. So this is just for Asus routers. So you just look on to see if you've got any other Asus routers, or if you can get some cheaper ones that are out there. Make sure that AiMesh compatible. Majority are, but it's always best to double check on the Asus website. And then you'll be able to connect them using the AiMesh system, and you'll be able to have a whole home network where, say if you've got a 3-story home, like a townhouse or anything like that, you can link these all together and it's seamless, and it has all the options that you need, and it just makes it just a quick click and collect click kind of thing. So you can see here all the options that you'll have, and you can manage the other routers as well that are in the network, and you can actually go into the settings and default it to Ethernet if you're lucky enough to have Ethernet through your home and things like that. These are much better than using the I would say then Wi-Fi extenders. They might be much cheaper, but they might give you a bit of false economy, because they are actually going to half your bandwidth. If you're going to get like this one, the GT-AX11000, that's tri-band, so you've got 2 5 gigahertz bands and 1 2.4. So you can dedicate one of them 5 gigahertz between the two routers, so you're not using up any of their bandwidth. So that 5 gigahertz basically band is constantly just the connection, the backbone between both of them. So it keeps you your speeds, whichever router it connects to, it keeps the speed at the highest possible. Moving on to AiProtection. So this has the Asus their kind of security. It's not really an antivirus, so still make sure you install antivirus on your computer or in your devices. This doesn't replace it, so please make sure you install that. But it gives you a good protection. As you can see here, it's got your router security assessment. So this basically tells you of any dangers or anything you've got. So if you've opening up ports on your router, or you've got something like a UMPnP, then basically it will just give you a warning, so you can have a quick one-stop shop on the screen or the app, and you can see it straight away. Again, the same as a two-way IPS. So you got the intrusion prevention system, and then you got the site blocking as well. So and the site blocking has actually come in handy a few times with my partner, and when she's clicking through to see shopping channels and things, I can see it's blocked a few times to these kind of phishing sites that pretend to be something else, and I can see it being blocked. So it's still relevant and still works, but as I said, it doesn't replace your antivirus software or firewall that you choose. Again, you've got more detailed tabs up here to go into more information, and you can just simply switch it on here and it will just enable it, and then you can forget about it. You've got parental controls as well, so this is really good if you've got children. You can switch it on for web app filters, and then a time schedule as well. So if you want to cut their tablet off before they go to sleep, or only have certain times when they can use it, you can set this up. Again, this is not foolproof. If your child is quite clever and tech savvy, they are probably able to get around this, but it gives you a good kind of easy way of trying to block them, and hopefully trust them that they'll stick to this and everything. You've got the game acceleration. So again, this is the GT-AX11000, so it is the ROG, Republic of Gamers. So it does have prioritization around gaming. Don't expect this to make your ping rate completely, like if you've got 20 milliseconds and it's expected to go down to 1. It's not going to happen really, but it does help. You've got there around there, it will prioritize certain devices of quality of service. And then you've got some game servers here as well that you can actually sign up for. Again, this part, if I remember, for WT Fast has now moved to another service, and there is a monthly subscription for that. But the other features are free, and you can prioritize your gaming traffic. So if you have got multiple devices there, it always prioritize your gaming PC or your console or your handheld console as well. We've got the OpenNAT, so as you can see here, so again, as it says here, this is the hassle-free way to create port forwarding. So this is a really good thing if you need to open up ports for certain games. You can do it with one click, and it does have been updated, so you can see it's got quite a lot of modern games, and you can add onto the profile here as well. So if we go back, we've got Game Radar. So again, this is basically, it hasn't got all the latest games on here, and it's quite limited, to be honest, but it just gives you an idea of your ping rate and things like that to the actual game servers. So it just gives you a good idea of which one is the closest to you. You have Wi-Fi Radar. So again, this is really clever. Each of these ones, you can go into the settings here, but you can troubleshoot if you're getting weak Wi-Fi signal, or you want to have a look around at your neighbors. So if you've got several, you're in a block of apartments or flats, you can do the site survey to see what bands they're on, and then try and change your channel. So if they're all using one, you can perhaps choose 6 or 12, so you get less interference and things like that. And then you've got the channel statistics as well, so that gives you some really good information, and it's just a simple click into it. Next we have VPN. So this is really good. So as you can see here, you can set up VPN servers, and you could also use your VPN. This router will direct certain devices. So if you've got your, say, your Fire TV, or you've got your game console, or something that you just want to stream, and you want it to be somewhere else, you can direct this router in the settings, basically then just to choose that device and then use your NordVPN or whichever VPN service you've chosen. And then you can have that device going through the VPN, and it won't affect any of the other devices. Again, you've got Instant Guard. So this is their basically Asus app you download, and then you can use that to VPN into your home network. So again, this one here is basically just a VPN into your home network. It's not a real VPN where it's going to change your location or make it extra secure as well. But it is good to get back to your home network in a secure and easy way. Because I have the Asus, basically the Asus WRT-Merlin, that's third-party software, I do have Tor as well, so you can access here. So you just click on here and enable, and it'll get you basically set up with Tor as well. We have traffic analyzers. You can see here, you can go here through traffic monitor. You can monitor all your information that's going through, web history and statistics. So again, you can go by device and app. It's really good and quite handy sometimes if you want to see, because I used this once, this traffic analyzer, and it actually showed me that a device that was a smart plug was uploading like 400 megabytes a day, and it just didn't seem seemed a bit strange to me. So I did some analysis on the traffic and everything. It did seem to be sending a lot of information back, so of course I reported to the manufacturer, but also I stopped using the device. And this was an instant thing. If I didn't have this, I wouldn't have known it'd been basically sending so much information that and some of it was encrypted, so I couldn't see what exactly it was sending, and it shouldn't be sending that amount of data. So this is a good tool as well, just to keep an eye on. I have tools, so you might not have all of this this one here on yours. Again, the Asus third-party firmware that I've installed gives you information around the temperature of your CPU. It gives you a lot of information around here about your drive, if you've got a USB drive plugged in, and also about your client, how many connected, and also the different bands that you've got as well. So this is another really good thing with Asus, and also normally they optimize this firmware to make it run a bit more snappy kind of thing. Next we go on to the advanced settings. So you've got network map. So again, this is really good, so you can see straight away all your information, how many, you can click here for a view list, so you can see how many devices are connected. It'll give you all the information. You've got a status here about, this is a quad core processor in here, so don't forget you have plenty of processing power, and also 1 gig of RAM as well, so you can see how much is being used up and how much is free. And also make sure your ports are used as well correctly, so if there's any issue, it will turn amber and give you a notice to say what's wrong. So it may come up on, like, for example, you've plugged in a 1 gig connection to the 2.5 gig port, and it might just say to you, are you utilizing this properly? You might put your 2.5 into the 1 gig by accident. So it does give you good information, and also about the 2 USB 3.0 ports as well. And you can see here it does list it as well. So it gives you really good information. Next, you have the wireless settings. So you have all the wireless settings under the sun you could think of that you want to actually change. You can have Smart Connect, so it combines all the bands together. So the 2.4 and the two 5 gigahertz bands with Smart Connect switched on, it joins them all together. So all you see is one SSID or one network name, say your home Wi-Fi name. Instead of three. I do prefer to separate them out, so I switch this off and have each band different. So my game consoles and things like that and high priority devices connect to one 5 gigahertz band, and another one is just for the tablets, and then the 2.4. So it's up to you again how complicated you want to make it, but you can make it as simple or as complicated you want. And you do have professional settings as well, where you can come in here and update the settings. And as like one of the people in the comments suggested as well, sometimes, you know, if you do have issues where this is basically your power, so this is on performance, this is by default, so of course you want maximum power for your Wi-Fi. But if you do have other routers around the home and things like that, and perhaps you're not getting as fast speed as you expect, you can turn this down to balanced. So basically, like he just explained it in the comments, is very good and clear. Is like basically you're turning all the way to the top, is like it's screaming at the top of its voice. So say, you know, this is the performance, but of course your other router in the home is screaming as well. So they could knock each other out or interfere basically. So if you turn one of these down just a little bit, and because you don't need the range on the second router, then that's always good to actually have a use. And you're not going to break anything. If it doesn't work for you, you can just turn it back up and then apply the settings. Again, be careful with some of these settings here, but again, in everyone's scenario is different. But as I said, there is everything here for you to change. So there is so many settings, and you can up the security as well to WPA3. If we go down to guest network, so again, you've got guest network function, so you can share your 2.4 or your 5 gigahertz band or bands basically, and all you do is click enable, and then it will set it up there as well. So you can set this up with Alexa or automate it with IFTTT. There is a subscription based now. It used to be free, but yeah, if you've got Alexa, then that may let you do it. I hope I haven't engaged your smart speaker. So you've got next is LAN, and as you can come here, you can actually start configuring everything. So again, you've got your name of your router if you want to change it, and then you've got your DHCP server. So this allocates our IP addresses. So if you want to change this, and also setting up a DNS, it's sort of like your phone book. So it turns your google.com into 192.133.5.3. So it just basically gives you easy understanding and everything else. Next you have the WAN. Again, you've got the dual WAN, so on here as well. So if I quickly go back and don't skip an internet connection, you have so many settings here where you can set them everything up through security. So you can have a secure DNS, and you can set this up if you want to. Again, if you don't actually have the information or you're not too sure, just leave it as it is. You don't have to, but it's good to read up just for your privacy on these things. And this has so many features to protect your privacy, so it's always good to actually enable these things. One thing I would say is basically this UPnP mode, I would actually switch this off. It comes default normally with switched on. If it is yes, then I'd switch it off because that is a bit of a security flaw within here, so you can switch this off here. Next you have a dual WAN. So again, here is where you can set it up for dual WAN. So you can select it here, so you can have the 2.5 and the 1 on here. So it's good if you've got a dual WAN port kind of thing, and it acts as like a fallback if you have lucky enough to have two internet connections. You have the port triggers, you have virtual server ports, you have a DMZ or DMZ kind of option as well. So this basically, you switch this on, select your device, and this will make it sure that nothing with the AI protection or anything else is open to the internet. but be very careful of using this. So if by default it should be no, and don't enable it unless you really know what you're doing. Don't open anything up to using this. Then you've got the dynamic DNS. So this is where it turns your IP address into a web address. So if you want to come back to your router, so instead of having it at one, or your external as 83.6.2.10, instead you'll have myrouter.asus.com, and it'll give you a secure certificate as well. It just sets it up, and it just makes it really easy as well. You can import your own as well by certificates, and if you do enable it, you can see here it does support several different companies as well on here as well, so that's always good to see. And lastly, you've got NAT pass through. So again, this is just for your VPN, or if you have anything that needs to pass through, but you can normally leave these as default. Again, as I said, this has got so many settings and features of it. There is nothing lacking on this at all. Again, you've got USB applications. You have AI disk, server center, so you can set up a iTunes or FTP, or even a network share. You can share your network server. You can use a 3G or 4G dongle. You have time machine, and also you can use it as a download manager as well. So you really do have plenty. Again, moving on to AI Cloud, again you can set up the synchronization and things here with the app that you can download for both your Android and your Apple or iOS devices. You have, as we said before, you've got Alexa, and then also you've got the IFTTT. So you can see here where you can just say ask my router to, and then it will switch on your guest Wi-Fi or anything like that, or upgrade the firmware. So it's really cool to have if you're interested in it. There is limited countries that this is actually limited to, so not every country has this feature, but you can just see on the list here which one, if you're lucky enough to be in one of these countries. Then you've got, it supports IP version 6, so my one by default is normally disabled, but then you can set this up to whichever your internet service provider supports. Most importantly, you have a firewall, so you have URL, so that means your internet addresses, your www.google.com, and then you have your keyword filters, so if you want to stop certain keywords, people searching for things and or accessing things with certain keywords, then you can. And you've got network service filter as well, where you can basically set up a schedule as well, and then what kind of user defined applications and things like this. So you can set it up. So as I said, it's got the basic features, and it's got a very, very advanced features. So it caters for everyone. That's from technical to a novice on here. So you can customize this to everything you need. Lastly, you've got the last three, you've got administration. So here's where you can change the operation mode of it. So if you want it in just normal wireless router mode, then you can turn it into an access point, a repeater mode, media bridge, and AiMesh node as well. Under the system, you've got all your actual security features and the setup here as well. Again, don't turn or change any of these unless you really know what you're doing. You've got here about setting up changing your router and admin login and your password, and then your security. So this basically is captures kind of thing. If you enter your password wrong too many times, you have that funny little kind of picture comes up, and you have to type in the code where it says. That will do there. So that's good for security. We've got firmware upgrade. So again, you can set that to yes. So it will just schedule and upgrade the firmware. You can leave that on. You don't have to worry about it. Again, if you want to manually do it, then you can. You can always restore or save your current settings. That's always a good practice, is come in here and just save them once you set it up to everything how you like it. So if you do have any issues and you have to reset it anytime in the future, you can just come in here and restore them settings, so you don't have to do anything. Again, I've got this extra admin kind of thing using the Asuswrt-Merlin, where it gives you some good temperatures and everything else. And again, you've got your privacy as well statement around using certain AI well, certain features from basically Asus. Of course, they collect information, and you can withdraw your, if you do sign up and you think, well, I don't like they're collecting all my information, you can come in here and click withdraw, and that will actually withdraw you from the service. Then we have system logs again, so it has all your log information, your wireless log, your IP address assignment, so your DHCP leases, IP version 6, your routing table, port forwarding connections. I mean, literally, as I said before, this is why this router is still so relevant today, is it has all the features you could think of. And if you want even more, then you can download the Asus WRT-Merlin third-party software. And again, if you do use it and you like it, please try and support him, because he does this for free. So, you know, time nowadays is quite valuable for people and things like that. So it's always good to even just for give him a cup of tea or something, or a coffee, to just, you know, show your appreciation. So you've got here the different tabs as well. So site survey and all these other ones are Wake on LAN. So you can start your computer up if it supports Wake on LAN. And then we've got come to the end where you've got your manual product registration, and then you can download the app as well from whichever relevant store. Again, what's quite good is down here as well, you've got a search function. So if you're looking for something within the settings and you're not too sure where it is, you can do a search here as well through the FAQ. So yeah, that's about it, to be honest. It's, you know, as I said, it's still very relevant. And if you are interested in buying it, then don't hesitate, because it has all the features as we ran through quickly. And if you do want any more details on each of the features, then have a look at my playlist on the GT-AX11000, and you won't be disappointed with this router. It'll handle everything that you can throw at it. Of course, it doesn't support any new Wi-Fi 6E devices you have. Then perhaps you might want to look at getting the GT-AXC11000. But if you don't intend having any Wi-Fi 6E devices or even Wi-Fi 7, and they haven't even been come out yet, then I would just stick with this one, and it will last you a good time and everything else, and it will support all your devices that are still coming out, and they're still only 5 GHz frequency. Okay, thanks for watching, and I know I've gone through this in a bit of quite quickly, and I hope I haven't bored you too long, but thanks for watching and have a great day.